Welcome back, everyone. Okay, let's just dive right in today. We're looking at a pretty fascinating breakdown of how organizations don't just survive but truly thrive. I want you to think of a successful organization as a high-performance vehicle navigating a really unpredictable road. In this explainer, we're going to explore the two absolutely vital components of that vehicle: leadership and improvement. Leadership is your steering wheel, right? It provides the vision, sets the direction, and helps the organization anticipate and steer clear of hazards. Improvement, on the other hand, well, that's the engine. It generates the actual horsepower and the forward momentum you need to reach your destination. I mean, without a good steering wheel, you drive straight off a cliff. But without an engine, you're not going anywhere at all.
To really set the stage for why this matters, listen to this quote from Jeffrey Hunt. He's the chair of the ISO Committee on Quality Management. He perfectly captures the reality of today's business environment. He says it's a VUCA world. That stands for volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity. In that kind of crazy landscape, having a structured framework isn't just corporate red tape, it is literally a lifeline.
So that brings us to the million-dollar question we're tackling today. How do organizations actually guarantee sustained success when everything around them is changing so fast? It's super tempting to just rely on the latest corporate buzzwords, but the real answer lies in deeply structured, globally recognized management systems. It's the unseen architecture that keeps the best companies on track, and we're going to unpack exactly how these systems function.
Here is our roadmap for the explainer today. 1. Navigating a VUCA world. 2. Leadership and unity of purpose. 3. Engaging and empowering people. 4. The mechanics of improvement. 5. Improvement versus innovation. And 6. Sustaining long-term success. Let's get to it.
Section 1. Navigating a VUCA world, adapting to survive. This is where standardized management systems like ISO 9001 and the pharmaceutical standard Q10 become your essential survival guides.
The core message here is all about adaptation. In the past, organizations could often just rely on stable, predictable, long-standing situations. Today, well, that's a luxury that basically doesn't exist anymore. We're seeing rapid disruption across literally every sector. And this is where our vehicle metaphor really kicks into gear. The concepts of leadership and improvement aren't just paperwork exercises to pass an audit. They are interconnected, living systems that allow a company to violently pivot its steering wheel and push its engine forward in the middle of constant chaos.
Section 2. Leadership, unity of purpose, steering the organization. We really need to shift the concept of leadership away from simply being the boss to actively guiding the organization with a unified vision.
The foundation of this, straight from the ISO 9000 principles, is alignment. Leaders at all levels must establish unity of purpose and direction. This means going way beyond just, setting quarterly financial goals. It's about communicating a vision so clearly that every single person understands exactly how their daily tasks drive the overall quality objectives. Again, if the steering wheel isn't aligned with the tires, the car's going to crash, no matter how much horsepower that engine has.
And the standards are incredibly specific about what top management must actually do to make this happen. This is not a passive role. Leaders have to take active accountability. They have to establish the policy and promote risk-based thinking. And what does promoting risk-based thinking actually mean in the real world? It means leaders are constantly scanning the horizon for potholes, not just staring down at the dashboard. Crucially, they also have to ensure the availability of resources. You can't just demand quality, you actually have to fund it and support it. They must clearly assign roles and authorities, so everyone knows exactly who is driving what part of the mission.
Section 3. Engaging and empowering people, the human element. Because even the absolute best steering wheel is completely useless if the internal parts of the vehicle aren't doing their job.
The fundamental concepts of ISO 9000 make it very clear that competent, empowered, and engaged people are what actually enhance an organization's capability to create value. Top management has a strict responsibility here to ensure their teams have the education, the training, and the awareness they need. You simply have to fuel your people with the right knowledge if you want that engine to run smoothly.
I absolutely love this point. The standard explicitly suggests that organizations should empower people to determine constraints to performance and take initiatives without fear. That without fear part, that is the critical cultural aspect of leadership. When employees are recognized and engaged, and when they aren't absolutely terrified of making a well-intentioned mistake, they actively participate in the improvement activities we're about to talk about. A fear-free culture is honestly the ultimate lubricant for your engine.
Section 4. The mechanics of improvement, forward momentum. This brings us right to our second pillar, improvement. the engine providing that forward momentum.
Crucially, improvement cannot just be a one-time project. As the standard notes, successful organizations have an ongoing focus on improvement. This means institutionalizing a mindset where the engine is constantly being upgraded while the car is still moving down the highway. It is absolutely essential to maintain your current performance, to react to all those internal and external VUCA changes we talked about earlier, and to actively create new opportunities out of thin air.
So how do we actually mechanize this? Well, we use the famous Plan, Do, Check, Act cycle. It's the PDCA loop that's heavily emphasized in ISO 9001. Let's look at a real-world example, right? Say you want to reduce software bugs. You plan by establishing objectives and addressing risks. Maybe you design a new coding standard. Then you do. You implement that new standard. You check the bug reports a month later to see how it's going against your policies, and then you act by either standardizing the new rule if it worked or tweaking it if it didn't. It's this continuous, structured loop that ensures your engine is just constantly fine-tuning itself.
Section 5. Improvement versus innovation. Understanding risk. Now, as we talk about pushing boundaries, we enter a really fascinating philosophical debate that was heavily discussed by the ISO expert panel. The distinction here is entirely about risk. Improvement usually operates in an environment of low uncertainty and high control. If you fail during an improvement initiative, it's classified as a nonconformity, which simply means a process didn't meet standard requirements. That is something quality management wants to eliminate. Innovation, on the other hand, that involves high uncertainty and high risk. In innovation, failure isn't a disaster at all. It's an expected, absolutely necessary learning outcome on the path to a breakthrough.
Which brings us to this brilliant insight from Sandra, one of the ISO panelists. She noted that while an innovation might be a completely new method or technology, it only qualifies as a true improvement if you view it through the lens of ethics. Think about it. Just because we have disruptive technologies like AI or mass data scraping doesn't automatically mean deploying them is an actual improvement for society or for your customers. Ethical considerations have to guide our engine. They act as a sort of internal compass.
Section 6. Sustaining long-term success, bringing it together. Finally, let's look at how we synthesize leadership direction and improvement actions to sustain success over the long haul.
Think of the management review process as the gearbox connecting your engine to your steering wheel. Leaders take inputs, things like audit results, process performance metrics, and those nonconformities we just defined, and they turn them into actionable decisions. They decide where continual improvement is actually needed, what changes the quality management system, or QMS, requires, and exactly where to allocate resources. It is the ultimate feedback loop ensuring the vehicle stays in absolute peak condition. Which leaves us with this final thought. To thrive in a VUCA world, you need both a steady steering wheel and a powerful engine. So ask yourself, is your organization balancing the safety and control of incremental improvement with the risky yet absolute necessity of breakthrough innovation? Really think about how your leadership team steers your unique engine of excellence. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you in the next one.